Hello to the beautiful water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Before I get further into the video, let me just give you the heads up. My camera is malfunctioning and it's doing it before I even get into the video. Look at that. I have no idea why, but I can't seem to get over this little hiccup with my camera. Please excuse it. I do apologize. I've got people working on it. I think I need to replace my computer, and unfortunately at the moment, that's just not in my budget. So Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Today we are going to be doing your prediction readings for the first half of March 2023. I have already made a couple of videos for some of the other signs, and I can tell you that there are very exciting energies coming up for many people. And so I just want to point out that this is a really exciting time. There are lots of changes coming up on the horizon. As I always like to say, forewarned is forearmed. So we're going to jump in just a minute, but I have to do my usual disclaimers. These are general readings. There are an awful lot of water signs out there. So just take what resonates for you and leave the rest behind. It's intended for someone else. Also, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a certified financial advisor. So please use your free will when it comes to making decisions. Make decisions based on your own heart and what is right for you. For those of you who are new here to my channel, when I do card readings, I work from a number of different decks, and as well, I leave all of the cards face down until I am actually ready to read them. That way, it allows for more of the psychic and intuitive insights to come up, because I don't know what the next card holds, and that allows the creativity to come out a little bit more when it comes to tapping into the ethereal realm. Final note, ethereal realm. When we are dealing with the ethereal realm, time moves at a different rate in different areas. Okay, so sometimes when predictions are made, the date may come and go, and all of a sudden people are going, hey, that didn't happen. Well, unfortunately, we do our best to try and adjust for the ethereal realm and the time shifts that happen, but it doesn't always work out that way. Okay. Without any further ado, let's get started with the Cancers. So Cancerian friends, let's have a look at your energy as to where you are at now. This video is being recorded right near the end of February 2023. So let's have a look at your energies right now for Cancer. Uh-oh, I'm going to have to pick that one up off the floor. This happens so often. Okay. And let's have a look at what you are focusing on, Cancer, the first half of March 2023. What are the Cancers focusing on? What is their focus? March 1st through the 15th. Ooh, the cards are getting messy. Really messy. All right, we still don't have a card coming out for what you are focusing on and what your focus is, Cancer. So let's go through the deck one more time. Cancer. Oh, there we go. Anything else? Oh, another one. Anything else? No. All right. So let's just stack these up in the order in which they came out. Wow, 4 cards here, Cancer. You must have a lot going on. Let's have a look at your difficult influences. What is the difficult, what is a difficult influence? What are the difficult influences for Cancer? First half of, there's 1 and 2, right? First half of March. Let's have a look at this. Makes sense. Now, this is a card that makes sense. It begins to tie the rest of the reading together. And it also generally gives us a few extra insights. And we do have 2 cards that have jumped right out here for you, Cancer. Okay, let's have a look at some unexpected insights and influences. Unexpected insights and influences for Cancer, first half of March. Oops, there's one. What else? There's another one. We've got a flipped card. Oh my. All right. So that was the first card to come out. Second card. This is the third card. And boom, your last card. All right, and let me just set this deck down so it doesn't influence. Let's have a look at final overall outcome for the first half of March 2023. These are cards that in general are going to speak to where your energies are at, what you're focusing on in general. Come the middle of March. There's one. It's not on the floor yet. Yep, there's another one. General overall focus for Cancer. General outcome. Okay, these came out first. There we go. What do we have here? Watching the clouds, lie back, rest and relax. Oh, Cancer, this is where you are at now. Your energy is all about lying back, watching the clouds, allowing things to come up naturally for you and making decisions based on thinking things through. You're not making rash decisions at this time. You are looking further into things, perhaps doing, a little bit of Google research or whatever search engine you want, but you're not diving right into things head first right now. Let's have a look. As I mentioned, there's 4 cards that have come up for your focus for the first half of March 2023. You have the 3 of Autumn, also known as the 3 of Pentacles. This card is about following your passion when it comes to your career. This makes sense. If you're sitting back right now, watching the clouds and lying back, you're allowing things to kind of come through to you, you're researching things. And so this makes sense that you have the 3 of Pentacles coming up in your focus right now, that, you are going to be the best at what you can do because you're currently researching things. You're going to follow your passion. You also have the 6 of Wands. Now, the Wands are all about fire. Fire is all about taking action. So this is a card of, taking action, moving forward. It's a card of good news. You'll notice on this card, hopefully that's coming into focus for you, that the character or the fairy on the card is riding a horse. And this is an indication it's kind of on par with the Chariot, which is also about some good news riding in towards you right now, Cancer. So this is one of the focuses that you have. You also have, wow, the Lovers next to the 9 of Summer or the 9 of Cups. Wow, this is what you're focusing on. So I do want to say that right now, Cancer, I'm sensing that for the first half of March, which is the intended time frame for this reading, there is a part of you that is looking into following your passion when it comes to career. You're being supported in that, and some good things are going to come riding on into you. But there is also an aspect of love and romance coming in. But also, I want to point out that the Lovers card is not always about love and marriage and romance. For those Cancerians who are out there who are either already in a committed relationship or are quite satisfied being single, this card can indicate that there is a different type of partner coming in, either a mentor or somebody who's coming into you to partner with you for a business project or a creative project. That's what this card indicates for those of you who are not necessarily looking for a romantic relationship. And the 9 of Summer is a wish fulfilled card. It's a card meaning that something that you have put out there over a period of time, the intention towards manifestation is coming to fruition. So now is a good time for you, Cancer. And these are the things you're focusing on. Beautiful cards coming out. Let's have a look at what's coming up as your we're looking at your challenging influences right now. Challenging influences is the Stargazer, which is about setting your sights higher, and Mountains, standing your ground. These 2 cards in this location of the reading is telling me that some of your ideas with regards to these 2 cards coming up, the 6 of Spring and the 3 of Autumn, with regards to business, some of your ideas are being challenged. Some of your creativity is being challenged, and it's not being massaged. It's not being nurtured. So you are being challenged to stand your ground right now. Be the mountain. If there is a project going on right now that you truly believe in, Cancer, this card is indicating that you're going to be challenged to have to stand your ground with regards to that particular project. The Stargazer, set your sights higher. This card harkens back to this watching the clouds card. Okay, so what this is telling me is that this card came up in where you are at now. So what this is telling me is you've had your time. You've watched the clouds. You've had your sit back and chill time. This coming up in your challenging insights is telling me that there is the temptation on your part to sit back, rest on your laurels again. And this card is saying, you need to set your sights higher. You need to really believe that if your intention is to get to the stars, that you can actually succeed in that, Cancer. So this is a card of, there is going to be that temptation towards, laziness, towards, not being as proactive as you could or should be. So just watch for that in the first half of March 2023. The dogs next door are having a hissy fit. I'm not sure if my microphone's picking that up, but hopefully it's not too loud. So Cancer, just pay attention to that during the first half of March. There may be a situation that comes up where you're going to need to stand your ground, and also these temptations to rest on your laurels, and you're being encouraged not to do so. In your This Makes Sense, you've got Forest, which represents diversity, and you also have the Lightning or Breakthrough card. These 2 cards do make sense right now, because when I turned over what you're focusing on, you've got 4 cards here of what you're focusing on. And you've got, there's a reflection there. You've got 2 cards which indicate that you're focusing on career, but you also have 2 cards, which means that 2 cards that focus on relationships, whether those relationships be romantic or business partnerships or just friendships in general. And so there is a lot that you're focusing on. So there is a diversity in your life right now, Cancer, which is beautiful, because, variety is the spice of life, as they say. Lightning. Okay. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, almost all of the signs for March, at least the first half of March anyway, are coming up with signs and symbols and representations of either tower moments, thunderstorms, thunder strikes, lightning, all of these things indicating that there is change on the horizon for all of us. There is a huge shift coming, Cancer. And so this is a card. It makes sense right now for you to be preparing for a change or a shift, because it's coming. And this card is just reinforcement and a reiteration of the change, a reminder of the change that's coming. Let's have a look at unexpected insights. Okay, so you've got unexpected insights. You've got awareness card coming up. Beautiful, beautiful. This is a card of you becoming more aware of yourself and your place in the world and what's going on around you as well. So as we become more self-aware, we also have the capacity to be able to see more of what's going on around us and see into the deeper knowledge of what's going on around us. You also have the stress card. Okay. This card makes sense coming up as an unexpected insight. In fact, it's not actually all that unexpected. And here's why. If you have all of this going on and you're concentrating on your work and you're concentrating on bringing in good things and manifesting and possibly a new lover or a new partner, and you do know that your manifestations are going to come true. If you're concentrating on all of this, you've got this diversity coming in, but you also know that things are changing, right? There is these thunder and lightning bolts on the horizon. It stands to reason that you may end up with a little bit of stress in your life because, as you can tell by the character on the card, he's trying to juggle too much. He's got way too many balls up in the air. Okay. So this is not, a bad thing, Cancer, but it is saying, watch how many balls you've thrown up in the air that you are attempting to juggle right now. The beginning of March 1st through 15th, which is the intention behind the timing of this particular reading. So pay attention to that. Interestingly, you have four other cards here, but I've pulled this awareness card back out again because you've got the inner voice card as well as the awareness card that's come out, and you also have the Fool card. Now, there are 22 cards in the major arcana. What are the chances of you getting 3 out of the major arcana in one card pull, in one pile? Pretty rare. So when we have cards that have similar meanings in the minor arcana to the cards in the major arcana, but the major arcana cards sort of, how can I put this? They have that stronger message, right? It's kind of like your mom asking you to do something would be the minor arcana. But when your mom uses all of your names and raises her voice, that's the major arcana. So Cancer, you have 3 major arcana cards here. You have the inner voice, you have the awareness, and you have the Fool. Okay. These are all coming up as part of your unexpected influences for March, or the beginning of March 2023. You also have the Creator, which is the King of Wands. Okay. Again, I'm going to reiterate that the Wands suit is the suit of fire, or the suit of action, taking action. And so reading all of these cards together, again, this is also 7 of Wands. Reading all of these cards together for you, Cancer, as your unexpected influences, it's telling me that right now there's an opportunity for you to listen to your inner voice, go within and raise your awareness of exactly what's going on, and also pay close attention to what you are creating. Remember, no matter what you are doing, create it with the Fool energy in mind. The Fool is also about new beginnings. It is the 0 card in the tarot, which is all about, you can't start any lower than the 0 card. So this is about new beginnings. Remember to have fun. That's what the Fool does. He brings fun and folly into whatever he is creating. And he is creating from that place of listening to his inner voice and his inner awareness. But as you are doing this work at the beginning of March, the first couple of weeks of March, make sure that you are paying attention to how much stress you are bringing into your life. Let's have a look at what is your general overall outcome. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? You have yet another major arcana card. Now this one is a card that sometimes people don't like to hear what it is in the traditional tarot. In this particular deck, it is called the Ego, but it is the number 15, and the number 15 card corresponds to the devil. Okay. The devil is all about, do I hold on to the past or move forward? It's all about conflict. It's about doing things for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. Am I doing something from a place of ego, or am I doing it out of kindness and generosity? Okay, that's what this card represents for you. This card also represents letting go of the past. If we have come from a place of ego in the past, where we have done things out of selfishness and done things for our own gains, then it is time to let go of that and move forward with that. You also have the Six of Summer. Interesting. You had the Six of Wands over here in your focus, and now you have the Six of Summer coming up. Interesting. You've got a theme of sixes coming up. This is a card of people and instances from your past coming forward. It's not surprising that that card came up right next to the Ego. This is an opportunity for you by the middle of March to be looking at relationships in your life. Oh, wait a minute. Looking at relationships. Didn't you have relationships as one of your focuses, Cancer? Yes, you do. Okay, the Lovers coming up is probably the biggest relationship card in the deck. And you have this as your focus for the first half of March 2023. It's not surprising then that your outcome for mid-March 2023 is the devil or the ego, and things from your past coming forward. Relationships from your past relationships. Now, when past relationships come forward, memories come out of the woodwork, perhaps people even come out of the woodwork. They are coming out of the woodwork for the purposes of healing. Okay, which brings us to the final card in your reading. And again, this is the overall outcome. This is the Eight of Winter, also known as the Eight of Swords, and it is reminding you that you have what it takes if only you believe in yourself. Okay. So Cancer, exciting month for you. There is an indication that there is significant change. You have, just to quickly wrap up, you are being called into this inner voice so that you have more awareness. Not surprising that you do have a thunderbolt coming in. The Lovers, really powerful cards coming up here. And this is an indication that by mid-March, there are some aspects of your past that are going to come forward for the purposes of healing them. And you need to believe in yourself. Thank you so much, Cancers, for being here. I hope that this resonated with you this month. I'm going to move into the Scorpio reading now. Thank you for sticking with me despite the early camera issues. Have a wonderful first couple of weeks of March, and we will see you mid-March. Hello, Scorpio. Let me first say my camera's probably going to glitch. It has glitched in every other reading, so unless you guys have some kind of magical touch, I apologize for camera glitches. I'll do my best to catch it, but yeah, there's been a few of them. All right. Scorpios, let's tap into your energy and let's have a look at what's coming up for you the first half of March 2023. Let's have a look at you are here. For lack of a better way of putting it, we're just looking at you now. Let's get pulled over here to these purple cards. Purple cards is the Sacred Traveler Tarot or Oracle cards by Denise Lynn. All right. Reading for the Scorpios. Where are the Scorpios at now? Anything else as we go through the deck one last time? Is there anything else that Scorpio needs to know? No. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at what you are focusing on, Scorpio. What is Scorpio focusing on for the first half of March 2023? Nope, not going to come out and play. Let's try again. Oh, we got some. Anything else that Scorpio is focusing on? Almost. I don't think so. It's one of these two cards. I'm going to leave them on the top of the deck and we'll see whether we're going to need to pull them out. Because I've already got 5. Yeah, all right. Let's mix these cards up, Scorpio, and let's see what you're actually focusing on, because I highly doubt if you're focusing on 10 cards. Okay. What is Scorpio focusing on for first half of March? You cards are not being cooperative. Come on, angels. Come on, ancestors. Come on in. Talk to me. There's one. That one just almost folded itself in half. What else? Is there anything else that Scorpio is focusing on at this time? No, I think the idea was just to get that one card out for you. Scorpio, okay, let's have a look at your difficult influences. Where are we going for difficult influences? I think we're going over here to the fairies. Oh, we got one. Oh, it landed all the way on the floor. We've got another one. Difficult influences for Scorpios. We do have more than one card here. Okay, let's have a look at This Makes Sense. Now, the This Makes Sense card has a tendency to make sense, obviously, but it is the card that begins to pull the rest of the reading together. So let's have a look at this one. This Makes Sense for Scorpio, first half of March 2023. Okay, looks like we just have the one card. All right. Unexpected influences. Where are we going for unexpected influences? Over here. Unexpected influences. Scorpio. There's one card and another. And another. You have a lot of unexpected stuff coming up, Scorpio. This one's going to be a little bit interesting for you. All right, that was the first card, those two cards, and then that one. And let's have a look at your general overall outcome, where you are predicted to be at, where your energies are going to be at come mid-March. Where are we going? I think we're going here. I'm seeing two cards here, so we're on two different decks. Scorpio. Are we pulling a clarification card here? I'm getting a no. Not yet. Anyway. All right. Where are you at now, Scorpio? You are crossing bridges right now and breaking trails. This is interesting. The crossing bridges card is about crossing bridges, mending bridges, as the saying goes. And a breakthrough is at hand, breaking trail. Intuitively, what's coming up for me is that there has been some heartbreak and difficulty for you recently, Scorpio. And part of that is going to involve crossing some bridges, mending some bridges, mending some relationships. And it's a question of how you're going to be able to move forward. And what's coming up for me is that without both inner work, working on yourself, and in particular in the area of forgiveness, a breakthrough and being able to move forward is going to be, shall we say, somewhat more challenging. It is indicating that, you know, the saying that's coming up for me, Scorpio, is sometimes, not always, but sometimes we have to let bygones be bygones. And that's really what this crossing bridges card is about. Now, that's not to say, I know I'm going to get backlash about this. That's not to say that if you've left in abusive relationships, you should go back into it. That's not what this is saying. But what this is saying is that if possible, there's my camera. We're just going to wait a second. There we go. If at all possible, make amends where it makes sense to make amends. Cross a bridge and hold out the hand of forgiveness. Now, if your particular situation, remember, this is a general reading. So if your particular situation is such that it doesn't make sense for you to do so for whatever reason, including potential abuse in the past or something like that, then do the internal healing and mending within yourself to be able to move forward. Okay. And as you do that work, you do have the opportunity to go into this breaking trail and starting new things. Let's have a look, Scorpio, at your focus. Right. Okay. Your focus is the sun. Very, very happy card in the traditional tarot. This is not from the traditional tarot. This is from the Angels and Ancestors deck by Kyle Gray. But this card, and whenever the sun appears in a reading, it's about happiness and bringing happiness and joy into our lives. So this is what you're focusing on. Now, what we focus on sometimes isn't always what we get, but definitely if this is what we're focusing on, then we are bringing that positivity in. That sits very, very well with this crossing bridges card, because if you're focusing on joy and happiness and bringing joy and happiness into your life, then you also have the capacity for the forgiveness and the mending that is suggested in this card. Let's have a look at your difficult influences. Okay, your difficult influences. You've got 3 cards here. The first one is the 5 of Pentacles. Now, the 5 of Pentacles has been coming up a lot in a lot of people's readings. Whenever the 5s appear in the tarot readings, it is an indication that there's a push and pull type energy going on. It is a card of a little bit of conflict. And what this card is saying is that at this time, the beginning of March 1st through the 15th, you are somewhat challenged, or potentially you are somewhat challenged with some money issues, some financial issues. And this card is also a card of asking for assistance, reaching out to others. Now, given that this came up in your difficult influences, you may have trouble asking for help right now. It kind of stands to reason, right? If you're going through this process of healing and mending bridges and so on, then you may be experiencing a little bit of difficulty with regards to reaching out to people for help. That's not to say that it's impossible. It's just the difficult influences are showing us what may challenge us, which just means that we need to put more energy into succeeding at that. You do have two more cards in your difficult influences that did come out. One of them is the Queen of Summer, also known as the Queen of Cups. And the other card that you got was the High Priestess. Both of these cards are about consulting your intuition. Both of them. Both of them are about going within. Okay. The Queen of Summer, I'm just going to read what it says on the card. Listen to your heart. Intuitive insights you can trust. Perhaps you are taking care of others too much. And the High Priestess, trusting your intuition, careful reflection before taking action. Insights come through meditation. These two cards being in your difficult influences right now, Scorpio, is telling me that perhaps you are listening to outside influences rather than really going within your own heart at this time and determining what's right for you. Okay. It just means that you're being challenged in this, that you need to put extra effort into carving out the time to do the meditative thoughts, to do the intuition, to get in touch with that. Okay. So for the beginning of March 2023, you are being called upon to really, really tap into your intuition. It might be a challenge, right? It's a difficult influence. It's a challenge to carve that time out, but you're being called to do so. This makes sense. Yep. Projections, 7 of Cups. This card makes sense because in your difficult influences, you've got two cards which indicate that you're not listening to your own intuition at this time. You're being challenged to listen to your own intuition at this time. And so the projections card makes sense. You're listening to too many other people's opinions rather than going deep within yourself to your own heart. So for the month of March, at least the first half of March, you're definitely being called upon to pay attention to what you are projecting out there and what is being projected back. What is your truth? The best way to figure out what your truth is, pay attention to this High Priestess and to the Queen of Summer, also known as the Queen of Cups. Pay attention. You've got two really, really powerful women represented on these cards in your difficult influences, which is telling me that there may be a little bit of difficulty right now for you to settle into your feminine energies. And it doesn't matter whether you're male or whether you're female. What these cards represent is the feminine energy, and the feminine energy is that kind, gentle tap into your intuition type energy. Okay. Let's have a look at what is unexpected for you. Ooh, unexpected. Okay. Unexpected, you have the butterfly and regeneration. That harkens back to the very first card, one of the very first cards I pulled for you, which is the breakthrough. And like I said, this breakthrough card was right next to the mending. So as your healing continues and as you tap into this intuition a little bit more, as you pay attention to the projections that are out there, then the butterfly can happen. Okay. You have the Faith card right next to the butterfly card. What does this mean to me? It means that even though there may be a little bit of a difficult time here, maybe, there's something kind of pushing your buttons a little bit, you have the ability to push through. And that's what this Faith card is believe in yourself. Wasn't there 2 other cards that came up that told you to believe in yourself in this reading? Yes, there was. the High Priestess and the Queen of Summer. Both of them, and I read them out to you. Get in touch with your intuition. It's not going to steer you wrong. Have that faith and that trust. You also have the Rice card. This is about nourishment. This is about nourishing yourself. This is about self-care, making sure that the foods that you are eating are good, well-rounded, healthy foods for you. And this is also a card about, like I said, self-care, taking that time that you need for yourself. Now, the final card in your unexpected insights is Fire and Intensity. What does this card mean in relation to everything that I've already said without reiterating everything I've already said? If you're not doing this work to move towards this butterfly and this regeneration and this change that's coming, you'll just get pushed there anyway, because it's coming and there's no stopping it. Just a little disclosure. Last week, my son and I live in high desert. We've been living here for some time, but we've never lived in a desert before. And we're nearing the end of the dry season. Rainy season starts in about six to 8 weeks. And so everything is tinder dry. There was a wildfire directly behind our house. And so we stood out there with our garden hose trying to soak things down to be able to protect the house. But I knew that there was absolutely no stopping that fire if the winds turned towards our house. You know, it came ripping across a field right towards our house. And then luckily the winds changed direction. We did get very lucky in that regard. But I can tell you, if the wind had not changed direction, there was absolutely nothing stopping the fire and the intensity. And it wouldn't have mattered how many garden hoses we had out there. Okay. So what I'm telling you right now, Scorpio, is that these cards are indicating that you do have some work to do. You have some healing to do. You need to go within to your own intuition and figure out what's right for you, what's making your heart sing. And then you're going to be moving into this regeneration period and this regeneration time, this breakthrough that's going to be coming. You know, you are focusing on good things, right? You're focusing on the sun. Good things are going to come out of this, but the good things that are going to come out of it may come out of it with the intensity of a fire and just come ripping across a field. Let's have a look at your general overall outcome for the middle of March 2023. You have 2 cards here. Interestingly, you have the existence cards. This is the equivalent to the number 1 in the major arcana of the traditional tarot. And you also have the burden. This is the equivalent to the 6 of swords. Dogs barking. They're going a little crazy. Okay. What this is telling me is that there are choices and decisions that are coming up for you right now. You have a choice whether to forgive and mend that bridge or not. You have a choice whether you're going to tap into your intuition or whether you're going to listen to the voices of the projections and everybody else around you. And in so doing, you have 2 very, very different outcomes, Scorpio, for the middle of March. You can either move into this peaceful place of existence, or you can move into this place where you're carrying around the burden of the past. Most of this reading is an indication of letting go of the old way of doing things, mending things, forgiving things, getting in touch with who we are, and then moving into this place of existence. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, Scorpio. I hope that this resonated with you. And if it did, I would love a like on this video. You can also support my channel. I am now accepting crypto, and the information for a donation or a tip in crypto is down below. Thank you again, and we will see you for the mid-March reading in only a short couple weeks. Okay, Pisces, let's dive right in. But before we do, my camera has an attitude of epic proportions. Yep, see, there we go. Look at that. So bear with me, please. Oh, isn't that fun? Yeah, I try to get that little bit in about the camera before we get too far in. So I apologize. I don't edit my videos. I am a real person. So I do apologize. My camera will probably do that at least a couple more times in the process of doing your reading, Pisces. Let's get started. So we're going to pull a card for where you are at now, Pisces, and then we're going to start pulling those cards that relate to 1st of March through the 15th of March. So where are we going for Pisces? Where are they at now? Yeah. Let's go to the fairy deck. There is a dog barking in the background. Not sure whether my new microphone is actually picking that up or not, but one of the joys of living in Mexico is dogs. A lot of dogs, and a lot of dogs bark a lot. So I do apologize, Pisces, if my microphone's picking that up. All right, let's go through the deck. There we go. Where is Pisces now? Okay, we just have the one card that's come out, which is perfect. Let's have a look at what you are focusing on, Pisces. Where are we going for that? I'm actually being called in two different directions here. All right. What is Pisces focusing on for the first half of March 2023? What is Pisces focusing on? Where is your focus? Let's see what's happening. Come on. There we go. And is there another card in here for the Pisces? Or focus? Nope, doesn't seem to be. So we just have the one card for you, Pisces, for what you are focusing on first half of March. Let's have a look at what your difficult influences are for the first half of March. Where am I going for that? I think we're going back over here to the fairies. Difficult influences. One of my difficult influences right now is that dog that won't be quiet. Okay. Okay, that's something caught up here. Okay. Pisces, difficult influences, first half of March. There we go. We do have a couple of cards. Is there anything else as we go through the rest of this deck? Is there anything else? Yep. Okay. Is that last one going to come out? No, it's not. Okay. Pisces, unfortunately, the fairies really wanted to speak loudly, and it seems that you have a few challenges coming up here. So we will turn those cards over when we're ready to actually read that portion in the reading. Let's have a look at this makes sense. What makes sense for you right now, Pisces? Let's go over here to the Sacred Traveler. What makes sense for Pisces? Now, the This Makes Sense card, the purpose behind pulling this card is to pull the rest of the reading together and begin to kind of get a cohesive reading going, because sometimes the first few cards that we pull can seem like they're not telling the complete picture. Okay, so we do have a card for This Makes Sense. For the Pisces, let's have a look at your unexpected influences. Where are we going for that one? Okay, we're going over here to the Osho Zen. Unexpected influences. All right, I think the neighbor finally realized that their dog was disturbing the whole neighborhood. Oops. All right. What is unexpected? More for the Pisces. Is there anything else in unexpected influences for Pisces? Yep, and that one's on the floor. Okay. Okay, and let's have a look at the general overall outcome energies. So these are the energies when I'm pulling this card as to where you're projected to be at in the middle of March. One, another. Wow. All right. Is there anything else? Is that one coming out? I don't think so. Is there anything else? Yep, one more. Okay. We have a lot of cards here for you. Okay. Pisces, there are a lot of cards there for your outcome. There was also a lot of cards in your difficult influences. This is before I even turn a single card over. All of these cards are still face down. I have not seen these cards, but this is initially indicating to me that there's a little bit of work to do on your part. We are going to dig into this deeper, but just from an intuitive and psychic standpoint, what I'm initially picking up is that there's a bunch of stuff that perhaps hasn't been dealt with or hasn't been dealt with in a good and positive way in the past. And there are numerous changes and shifts coming up in 2023. And I think that I've said this to you in the past, that as we continue to move in through the 2020s and in towards 2030, these changes and shifts are actually going to accelerate rather than slowing down. And this is affecting different zodiac signs in different ways and different people based on how much of each zodiac sign they have in their chart in different ways. In some people, it's coming out all sunshine, rainbow, and roses. And in other people, it's coming out that they just have challenges ahead of them. It's not that they have full-on roadblocks, but they do have to start dealing with their stuff from the past. So let's jump on in, Pisces. Let's see if the cards are confirming the intuition that's coming up for me. But like I said, I am sensing that there's a little bit of work there to be done. So where you are at now, we have the Ace of Spring, also known as the Ace of Wands. This is a card of new beginnings, but it's also a card of take action with regards to new beginnings. So anything that's coming up in your life that is a new beginning needs your attention and your action. You have to be fearless in going forward here. This is an indication that typically the Ace of Wands or the Ace of Fire, Ace of Spring in this case, is not only a call to action, but this card also speaks to typically to job, work, and career. So this could indicate that there is a change or a shift happening with job or career for you, and it does require your attention at this time. What you are concentrating on or what you are focusing on right now is waves and the ocean. Okay. There's a couple of different meanings to this card in the context of your reading, Pisces. First of all, ocean and waves represent water. Water, when we see it in readings, is about going with the flow. It's about recognizing and acknowledging that the only thing that is constant in our lives is change. And the sooner that we accept change and begin to adapt to the changes that are coming, the easier our life is going to be. Now, that leads us into the waves aspect of this card. And the waves aspect of this card is that there are going to be highs, there are going to be lows, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, when there are waves, depending on the body of water that you're in, sometimes the waves can be very rhythmic and relaxing, and you can actually get used to and enjoy the waves. And other times, waves can be unpredictable and you don't know where the next one's coming from. Okay, so As this is your focus card, Pisces, for the first half of March 2023, I want to say that there is this aspect where you're being encouraged to go with the flow, be like water, and take the form of whatever vessel your life is being put in. Okay, go with the flow, be a little bit more flexible. And as you do so, the high highs and the low lows will become these nice rolling gentle waves, as opposed to the choppy water of a storm. Let's have a look at your difficult influences. Oh my goodness, you have another ace here. You also happen to have 4 cards from the major arcana. The chances of this happening are very, very slim, extremely slim. I am also going to encourage you to watch some of the other water signs, because they have similar cards that have come up as well. And incidentally, they also had the interesting phenomenon of having 4 major arcana cards come up. There's only 22 out of 78 cards, and included in all the rest of this reading. It just astounds me that there are so many. And so what I said in, I can't remember if it was the Scorpio reading or if it was the Cancer reading, but what I said is there are cards in the minor arcana that have similar meanings to the major arcana, but the difference is that in the minor arcana, the meaning of the card is your mom saying, hey, can you do something over here? And the major arcana is your mom using all of your names, including your middle and your last name, and raising her voice to ask you to do something. Okay. So you do have another ace here. You have the Ace of Summer, also known as the Ace of Cups. And again, this is about new beginnings, but the suit of Summer, or the suit of Cups, usually involves something that is more emotional. So the Ace of Spring is also the Ace of Fire, which is about taking action, and typically this pertains to work or career. The Ace of Summer pertains to relationships, okay? And it is about opening your heart to new beginnings and new starts. So this card is in your difficult influences, so we read it as if it's opposite. What does that mean? That means that perhaps your heart is not open right now, not open to new beginnings. You're still holding on to the past. You have the Sun in your difficult influences. Now, the Sun is all about plans working out perfectly. It's about gratitude, and it's about blessings. Okay. This coming up in your difficult influences is not saying that things are not going to work out for you. What it is saying is they're not going to work out in the way in which you expected them to. Let's have a look at, next you have the card of renewal. The card of renewal is the card letting us know that one season, one portion of our life, one area of our life is ending and a new one is beginning. It's about cycles. That's the word that I was looking for a second ago. Review your past as well as your present so that you can plan a bright new future. It is about the ending of one cycle, the beginning of something new, and it's about being able to release the judgments of the past. This is in your difficult influences. What does that mean, Pisces? It means you're still holding on to something in the past, which is not allowing you to move into this stage of renewal that you're being encouraged towards. Interesting. Really interesting. What's interesting? You also have the Lovers. You have the Lovers card in your difficult influences. Incidentally, you also have the Ace of Summer. Ace of Summer, or Ace of Cups, is about new beginnings in romantic relationships, and you have the Lovers here, both of which are in your difficult influences. What does that tell me? Pisces, you might be a little hard to get along with right now. Okay, that doesn't mean forever. It doesn't mean that you're a rotten, terrible person. What it means is that you're going through a bit of a difficult time, right? You're riding some waves right now. And as you go through this, you might be a little difficult to get along with. That's what this is telling me. That's not to say that you need to perpetuate that by any means, but definitely when we have psychic readings, when we look at tarot cards, the purpose behind it is to see what's coming. And when we know what's coming, we have the ability to change and adapt. So if we know that we have energies coming up that may make us less lovable, then we have the capacity to be aware of them and step back and say, hey, I can change this. Okay. Pisces, you also have strength. This is the final card in your difficult influences. And the strength card is all about that you have the grace and the inner knowing to be able to get through everything. You have the ability to forgive and to move forward. This coming up at your difficult influences, Pisces, is just saying that right now, it's a bit of a struggle for you to move forward. But you are being reminded that you are the lion in this picture. You have the ability and the capacity to take on the strength and to move yourself out of this cycle. Okay. Infinite abundance is coming up in your This Makes Sense card. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, you might have even had this card last for the end of February reading. I do recall, I think it was your sign that had this card, but I'm not positive on that. But the infinite abundance card coming up in This Makes Sense. It does make sense because as much as there are some difficult influences coming up for you right now, Pisces, as you move through and heal, as you change and shift, and as you become more like the water in the ocean and become more fluid, there's so much abundance out there for all of us to have and to access, including you. Let's have a look at your unexpected insights. Yeah, unexpected insights. You have the celebration card, the Three of Cups. This is a really, really happy card. This is a card about throwing caution to the wind and just going out and dancing in the rain. Okay. You also have the card of isolation, which is the Three of Swords. Interesting that in your unexpected influences, you have two threes. You have the Three of Swords and the Three of Cups coming up. Very, very interesting that there's two threes here. So you might want to look up the meaning of 33. It is a very, very powerful number. And it does fall, the threes fall into the Tesla numbers of 3, 6, and 9, and anything that's divisible by those numbers also have very powerful meanings. So definitely have a look at the number 33, the number 3, and look at 3, 6, 9s as part of this reading and as part of the unexpected influences that you do have coming up for the first 2 weeks of March. Okay, you have this isolation card over here. Now, some people look at it and they're like, isolation, I don't want any more isolation. Remember what I said a moment ago, that the major arcana are the equivalent of our moms yelling at us and using all of our names and really getting her point across. And the minor arcana have cards that are the equivalent to the major arcana meanings, but it's more of a soft whisper. This card is more of that soft whisper to the Hermit, okay? The Hermit is yelling, go within, maybe find a mentor. It's time for you to withdraw from society a little bit. This card is more of a whisper. that within isolation, we have the opportunity to have great growth. And you'll notice on this card, the character is crying golden tears, and those golden tears are beginning to melt the isolation around him. Okay. The reason that this is important is that as we go inside, within, as we isolate ourselves, we have the capacity to learn who we are and practice forgiveness. And in forgiveness, we are able to melt the ice and that we put up, and the protection and the walls that we put up. So this is part of your work. The first half of March 2023, Pisces, is to go into this isolation and work on this forgiveness and work on creating these golden tears to be able to pull us out of this. Now, there is one more card here for your unexpected influences, and it is the stress card. Now, don't let this stress you out. Unintended. Haha, I made a joke. Okay. You do have this stress card, and what this card is indicating that with all of these other energies that you've got coming up, and with all of these other shifts that you've got coming up, you may be tempted to throw too many balls up into the air. And if you're trying to juggle, one or two of them might end up hitting the ground. Don't stress about it. Don't cry over spilled milk. I don't know where sometimes these sayings come from, but don't cry over spilled milk is what came up. So I blurted it out. Yeah, so, you've got a lot going on right now, Pisces, is essentially what this card is saying as an unexpected influence. And so just pay attention to that, and pay attention to how many things you've got going on and how many balls you've thrown up in the air that you're going to need to juggle in the future. Okay. But the more that you tap into what you're focusing on and this water energy, the less this will affect you. Now, let's have a look at, oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Okay. This is unbelievable. Pisces, in your outcome, you do have the fighting card. Okay. This is a card of you recognizing that change needs to happen. And from this place of isolation, rather than coming out of it with this energy, you're instead coming out with kind of this fighting attitude. Okay. This doesn't have to come to be, but this is a card of letting go of the need to be right. Okay. Let's set that card down. Now, this is what really, really caught me off guard. And that is, let me just look at this. We've got 13, 0, 10, and 9. 13, 0, 10, and 9. In your unexpected influences, or sorry, your difficult influences, you had 4 major arcana cards come up. As I mentioned, there are only 22 major arcana cards in the deck out of 78 cards. In your outcome, you have another 4 major arcana cards. And here's the thing. None of these are the same as these. What are the chances, Pisces, of you ending up with 8 out of 22 major arcana cards in one reading? Not very high. So I am going to read these cards individually for you, and then I'm going to just wrap things up and pull everything together. One of the cards that you have is aloneness. What does this card correspond to in the traditional tarot? The Hermit. What did I mention over here with this card? Without having seen this card, the Hermit energy. Okay. You got both of these cards This is both your mom and your dad and your teacher yelling at you and using all of your names. Okay. You are being asked to and called to right now, Pisces, to go within, to go into this isolation, to go into this hermit mode. Hermit is about pulling back from society and going within and really, really getting in touch with who you are. Sorry, that's what's yelling out right now. You also have the change card, okay? It means that huge changes, huge shifts are on the way for you. You also have this card. This is the number 13 card from the major arcana of the traditional tarot. This card corresponds to the death card. Do you know what that means? Change. Big change and shifts.
Okay, the next photo.
Not surprising that, I mean, this card and the Tower card have been coming out time and time and time again with readings going into March of 2023. So we're not really surprised to see this card for you, Pisces, but it does indicate sudden and unexpected change that you can't necessarily get out of. But the very final card in your reading today is the Master. And what this card indicates, Pisces, is that you are the master of your own destiny. Everything that has been said today, everything that's been said in previous readings to you, you are the master of your own destiny. You have the opportunity at this point and time in history to change. And you have the control to determine whether you are going to walk into this change and transformation that is happening with your head held high, knowing that you can be like the ocean and you can ebb and flow and go with things, go with the tide, ride the tides, ride the waves. Or you can choose not to do that. But either way, the choice is yours. You are the master. All right. Thank you so much for being here, Pisces. If you enjoyed this, please give me a like. I have also set up the ability for you to be able to tip me using crypto. If you are so inclined, the information is in the description box. Thank you so much, and I will see you in mid-March for your next reading. Thank you.